Let's get a little geeky with like filmmaking and stuff, because I was watching a video recently and I didn't know you went to film school. Did you finish film school?
No.
Okay. How long were you there?
I was there for about 1.5 years, I think. Maybe it was 2 years. I went to Orange Coast College and I loved it, and like I have them to thank for the person that I am today. I think I still think about like my first class, like my first editing class and my first like filming class, and I think the biggest thing that I learned was not even about like the filmmaking technical side, but about just dreaming big. And they would be really inspiring. It was really cool. I don't know. And I mean, they would say like, you don't need to get a degree to do film. Like they would always kind of preach that. So I was like, okay, yeah, fine, I'm not going to. They're like, why are you even here anymore? And I was like, okay, fine, I'll leave.
So with that, what do you think is the purpose of film school?
I mean, I think you do learn things that you should know. You should know composition of a shot. You should know how a set runs and the jobs that are done, and maybe a bit on how to do those jobs. You don't need to be an expert if you don't want to be a gaffer, but you need to know kind of what they do. And you learn more about story, and you interact with other people. You learn to communicate better. I do think that's all important. So you learn all these technical things, but then you realize like rules are meant to be broken, and that's okay.
But you have to know the rules before you break them.
Yeah, you got to know the rules though. Otherwise, you're just super amateur. You got to know the rules to be able to break them for sure. That's it.
Yeah. So the idea of college, I think still people struggle with, because they see so many successful people out there without college degrees, but then they don't know the whole story. Because I truly believe I was in, I was in college for 3.5 years. I hated it, but I truly believe that there were aspects of my time being a computer science major that actually helped me in the long run. Like you learn problem solving, and even though you're trying to make a pyramid of asterisks and C++, the problem solving that you learn through that actually helps you to like critically think. And I had this moment when I was in Premiere and I was trying to figure out how to do some like fancy thing in editing with like keyframes or something, and I thought of a way to do it that was just like so weird, but I was like, oh, this is because I feel like I'm learning how to think differently. I don't know, like I feel like everything truly does have a reason. But in terms of traditional college, if you are a creator, or maybe you want to be an entrepreneur, you have a business idea, what's your opinion on college and all that things? Because obviously with film school, you went for 1.5 years, you got what you needed, and you left. You don't have a degree from it, but you did find some value within that year. Yeah. So for those people who are maybe younger, they're in high school, they're stressing out about college, what's some advice you have to aspiring creators?
I think that if you're a creative person, like college isn't for everyone, but there is that important aspect of like you meet people there that could end up being people you work with for the rest of your life on creative things too. That's a huge part of it. I think people think, oh, if I get into like this big university, like Steven Spielberg is gonna let me be his assistant. Right. And it's like, no, that's not what people mean by you meet people. It's like you meet other talented students of your age and your capability, but you guys are all going to grow together. You're not just going to get hand selected
because you have that fancy certificate.
No, it's like, it's cool. It's really cool to be just surrounded by all those people, and people take that for granted because you're just not going to get that anywhere else really, unless, I don't know, you go some other one-off class. But
I think that's valuable when you don't already have that. I think people who maybe in high school, they're in maybe like a club or something outside of school. Or like for me, it was my church. It was like a big mega church, but it was super creative. So I was able to kind of go alongside people and be like, oh, how'd you do that and that? So and I just kind of offered my time. So it really like expedited that, but kind of created this network of people. And so I think for college, if you have no idea what you want to do, and you don't have that network already, I think it could be a really good place to find that. But you don't go and do that for like $60K a year.
Yeah,
I think
no
that's,
way.
I'm like,
No way.
when you graduate college, you're literally like starting your adult life. And you don't want to start your adult life $200,000 in debt. I don't think
That's just crazy.
I don't think people realize that like loans aren't free money, and then you're paying like insane interest, and you're trying to get that apartment in New York City. You're trying to live your dreams in LA, but you have a $900 college payment that you have to pay. That complicates the process, you know? So I think you got to find that middle ground. You got to have common sense. And then if you have that network outside of school, screw it. I'm like a huge advocate of like, you don't need college, especially if you're a filmmaker, photographer, designer, even a business person. Go freaking to Barnes & Noble, go on the internet and read, you know?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is to just never stop learning in general.
Exactly, because people have this mentality of, I'm in college, I read my books and I'm done. But you never stop.
I think the worst thing I ever did for myself was, I think there was a point in time where, like, when I was in film school, like, the teachers would kind of hype me up and be like, you're really good, like, you're one of like the better ones in the class kind of thing. And so then I would just like be kind of a hothead about it and be like, yeah, like, I don't need to, I know everything there is to know. And I look back and I'm like, oh my god, like, I didn't know anything. And I just really stopped myself for a while from growing because I just thought that I learned what I needed to. But you never stop learning.
You never stop learning. And sometimes that ego can get in the way.
Yep.
And that's something good about the chaos that is YouTube, is it keeps you humble. I think it truly does keep you humble, because you can be a rock star in one moment and then post a video that doesn't have a decent title and thumbnail, and you're like back to square one.
Totally.